Dear children, let us continue the chapter The White Mouse Circus on page number 69. In the previous class, we studied that the boy and the grandmother was settled in the Hotel Magnificent in Bournemouth, as she was not feeling well and the air was fresh. That is why they were advised by the doctor to shift that place. And the boy carried his 2 mice with him, and the chambermaid came to know about the mice, and it was not allowed to keep the mice in the hotel. And then my grandmother and the boy were called in the manager's office, and there they had a lot of conversation, and finally there was a compromise. The manager suggested a compromise that they can keep the mice with them but should not allow them to come out of the cage. Now let us see what happened further. I hope you all are ready. There is no way you can train mice inside a cage. Now he was allowed, the boy was allowed to keep mice with him, but he was not allowed to take them out of the cage. And keeping in the cage is not possible to give them training. We cannot train the mice inside the cage. Yet I dared not let them out because the chambermaid was spying me all the time. This boy did not have courage to bring these mice out of the cage because the chambermaid was always keeping an eye on him, was spying. Spying means person who collects all secret information. She was always keeping an eye on the boy. She had a key to my door and she kept bursting in all the hours. And the chambermaid was having one extra key of his door with her, and whenever she needed, she used to come and check, trying to catch me with the mice out of the cage. And at all hours, every hour she was coming and inspecting whether the mice are in the cage or out of the cage. She told me that the first mouse to break the rules would be drowned in a bucket of water by the hall porter. Then she said that the mouse which will be out of the cage will be drowned into the water, into the bucket by the hall porter. And the boy was knowing this punishment. That is why he was not having courage to take out the mice from the cage. I decided to seek a safer place where I could carry on with the training. Then the boy decided to find out the better place, the safer place where he can train his mice. There must surely be an empty room in this enormous hotel. Then he thought surely there will be one empty room for him. Because the hotel was enormous, very big hotel it was, and he expected that surely there will be an empty room. I put one mouse into each trouser pocket and wandered downstairs in search of a secret spot. Then the boy kept both the mice in his pockets. And then he wandered here and there. Wandered means walking here and there aimlessly. And he just wandered here and there in search of secret spot. He wanted to get a secret place to train his mice. The ground floor of the hotel was a maze of public rooms, all of them named in gold letters on the doors. The ground floor of the hotel was a maze. Maze means very confusing network, like bhul bhulaiya. Okay, and there were number of rooms, and all of them named in gold letters on the doors. On every door, the name was written in gold letters. For which purpose the room was being used. In the school, you know, on every door, the classroom, the number is mentioned. It is class 5, it is class 6, it is class 7. The same way, on the doors, the names were written in gold letters. I wandered through the lounge and the card room and the reading room and the drawing room, and he saw what all names he read. The lounge. Lounge means a comfortable sitting room, and he saw the card room, the reading room and the drawing room. None of them was empty. No rooms were empty. I went down a long white corridor, and at the end of it, I came to the ballroom. Then he just kept on walking a long white corridor. It was a very long white corridor, and he kept on walking, and finally he saw the room. At the end, on the door, it was written the ballroom. There were double doors leading into it. The room was having double doors, and in the front of the doors there was a large notice board on the stand. You can see in the picture, there was a large notice board on the stand in front of the door. The notice on the board said, what was written on the notice board? This room is reserved for the annual meeting of the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. This room was arranged for the meeting and for the meeting of the Royal Society. And what was the reason? What was the purpose of that? For the prevention of cruelty. No children should be treated in a cruel manner. The double doors into the room were open. When he just pushed, the rooms were opened. I peeped in. He just saw inside the room. It was a colossal room. Colossal means very huge, very large, big room. There were rows and rows of chairs. There were many rows of chairs, all facing a platform. All facing a platform means like a stage. All the chairs were facing to the stage. The chairs were painted gold, and they had little red cushions on the seats. The color of the chairs were gold, and the red cushions were kept on each seat. But there was not a soul inside. Means there was nobody in that room. I sidled into the room. Sidle means walk in a secret way. Slowly means he crept into the room. What a lovely secret place it was. He was searching for a secret place. Finally, he got it. The meeting of the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children must have taken place earlier in the day. When he entered into the room, there were nobody inside the room. So he thought maybe the meeting which was going to be held in this room is already taken place earlier in the day. Maybe in the morning time the meeting has taken place. And now they had all gone home. He thought maybe after finishing their meeting all have gone back to their home. Even if they hadn't, even if they did suddenly come pouring in, they would be wonderful, kind people who would look with favor upon a young mouse trainer going about his business. Then another thought came into his mind. If in case the meeting is not over, all of a sudden people will come into this room and they will catch the boy with his mice, and he thought that surely those people will be kind. because they were going to have the meeting for the prevention of cruelty to children. If they are going to hold meeting on this purpose, surely they will be the kind people. They cannot bear up the cruelty towards the children. So this thought gave him a comfort. He thought, if in case they will come in the room, they will have some pity on him. They will be kind to this boy. At the back of the room, there was a large folding screen with Chinese dragons painted on it. At the back of the room, backside of that room, there was a large folding screen. And on that screen, the Chinese dragons were painted. I decided, just to be on the safe side, to go behind this screen and do my training there. Then he said he thought to keep himself in a safe side. He thought he will give the training to his mice at the back of this big screen. I wasn't a bit frightened of the prevention of cruelty to children people. He was not frightened at all, because he was knowing that the people will be kind to him. If in case he will be caught by them, they will be very kind and generous to him. But there was always a chance that Mr. Stringer, the manager, might pop his head round the door. But he was little frightened from Mr. Stringer, who was the manager of the hotel. If in case he will come, there will be a lot of trouble. If he did, and if he saw the mice, the poor things would be in the hall porter's bucket of water before I could shout stop. Then he thought, if in case he will be caught by the manager, both the mice will be drowned into the bucket and he will not be able to save them. I tiptoed to the back of the room and settled myself on the thick green carpet behind the big screen. Tiptoed means walked quietly. He very quietly, very slowly. He walked at the back of the big screen, which was painted with Chinese dragons. So it was a quite comfortable place for him, and he settled himself on the thick carpet. There was a thick carpet on the floor behind the big screen. He settled himself there. What a splendid place this was. Splendid means very grand. He thought to himself, what a splendid place this was. It was very grand place for him. Ideal for mouse training. It was quite suitable for mouse training. I took William and Mary out of my trouser pockets. Who were William and Mary? The mice, the names of mice. He kept the names of these mice, William and Mary, and he was carrying them into his trousers pocket. So he just took them out from the pocket. They sat beside me on the carpet, quiet and well behaved. Both the mice sat beside him, very quiet and well behaved. Whatever instructions were given them by the boy, they followed. Means when they were not running, when he kept them down on the floor, they were just sitting. They were not running here and there and disturbing all the atmosphere of his training. So the second part of this chapter, I hope you understood this. Your work is to go through this chapter, read it twice, thrice, and learn the meanings of all the difficult words. And in the next part, the remaining chapter will complete in the next class, and then we'll come to know that what training was given to William and Mary, what tricks were taught to them by this little boy.